I'm going to speak about my vision for art education and where it seems to work best. So I have this little diagram over my shoulder, and I'm going to use that to help illustrate what I mean by a lot of what I'm going to talk about here and share with you. Art education is critical in today's schools. It has been since the times of the ancient Greeks and only lost its luster a bit during the Industrial Revolution when products became more important as people became more consumer driven and many schools turned into education for profit kind of factories. What we do know about art education is that it's not about hand turkeys and frills. When we measure, draw, and grid, we use geometry. When we make sculptures, we use engineering. When we mix colors, we reveal information about physics. When we create illustrations for stories, we learn about literature. When we review the styles of art from Da Vinci to Banksy, we teach history. And when we write about art, we strengthen these skills. When we create works of art, we solve complex visual problems in creative ways. Art education is the hub of education in my way of thinking. This infographic attempts to dissect why and what we do, and maybe where your own class fits into that, and maybe confirm that's where you want to be or you want to try something different. Red is media and technique. Alone, this category would represent paint, a good brush stroke, rope and being able to tie items to a boat properly, utilitarian ceramics, or a well-made stool. Blue is about math, science, history, literature, writing, cultures, etc., which every art project in general has some connection to, like color mixing connects to physics, or illustrations connect to literature, tessellations connect to geometry. Yellow is the individual being considered in the process and the potential for personal connections, internalization of the information, of those media and of the techniques that are being taught. Purple is the area for formula projects, make and take, with little personal connection at all. It's not really even considered. There are some hallways that are lined with work like this, one essentially looking like the next. It's also the realm of craft that helps to define or express a culture. So that would be a positive aspect of it, or decorative items for the holidays. That's another way that you might see this pop up. Orange is the artful program with lots of expression, but fewer connections to core content. It is art for art's sake. It's like an open studio, an island within the school with little connection to anything else. It is also how most professional artists work, so many teachers see this as a model to follow to create little Rembrandts. Both orange and purple have their advantages, and many art classes operate out of those two realms. Green is where a good core content class helps students understand content by personalizing it. This might be with questions like what percentage of your body is made up of water and what would that represent in weight? Or if you were Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit, what would you choose to reveal had you found the magic ring and why? Or to compose a poem to take the place of the Jabberwocky in Through the Looking Glass. It's the internalization of class content for deeper understanding. The middle section, however, is what I strive for, and when I do, I see some really amazing things. Students take and make connections between content areas and explore them with more depth and understanding, and create more meaningful, insightful works of art. This is the heart of a great art program, in my opinion, but certainly a difficult balancing act for some. One needs to take the time to plan both the personal connection and relevant core content information to make it all work seamlessly. I'm going to give you 3 examples through a pinch pot. In the purple mode, if you're going to be making a pinch pot, you might show students how to do an inverted pinch pot turtle. You would glaze it green. You would show them how little appendages would come out of the bottom edge. And the example is what they will create step by step, from pinch pot bowl, adding the bits, coloring it green. Students know the good ones look most like the teacher's sample. Parents love them. They're just so cute. The orange mode is where students are given clay and taught how to do a pinch pot and then asked to turn it into something creative that speaks to their personality. Books or images of other pinch pot creations might be available to flood the students with lots of different ideas. Some are stumped with too much choice, but most will do well and have a fun, creative thing at the end of the project with expressive works of art. But they might not have those connections to core content of that central mode. So in that central mode, students might begin by doing a little bit of writing about who they are, maybe a list of 10 descriptive words. That would be our writing connection. Then they would connect each word to a possible animal they think best represents them. So now we're making interpretation. Then they would create a sketch of that animal to scale. So they would be then planning. They might learn about Oaxacan carved animals or Haniwa animals out of Japan or some other culturally or historically connected touchstone as a reference. So now we're touching on history. Sketches are redrawn before learning how to properly pinch their sculpture. They would cut and weigh lumps of clay to get a 1/4 pound. So now we're doing math and measuring. The project would conclude with a critique and a few written lines about what they did best, worst, and what they could improve if they did it again. So we have some more writing. Time may be your enemy if classes are short, but one core skill can be added to a project to get it into that central mode, be that a little bit of writing, measuring, or historic content. You don't have to do it all, but if you can, more power to you. Studies show, as we have spoken about in other videos, that students who take 4 years of art in school and high school perform about 100 points higher on their SATs. We see improvement in ACT scores as well when literature is connected in writing skills. So by making these connections and recognizing that only 3% of our students might go on to an art-related career, but we need to teach the other 97%. By making these connections, we're helping our students succeed in all of their classes. So if you found this to be helpful, make sure you subscribe and check out some of my other videos on this playlist. Thank you.